Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ever Loyal Podcast. I'm Matty G, along with G Kirch. Grant, it's been a hot minute,
Hot
a
minute.
hot minute. Um,
Hotter than a fox in a forest fire.
Whatever the hell that means, sure, we'll go with it. Whatever's knee high on a grasshopper. Um,
Cover your ass like whitey tighties like moss on a Mississippi tree stump.
um, and that might be fastest for how long we've got off the rails. So I think the last episode we tried that, but um, to all you, to any of you that listen,
Thank
we
you.
were gone. Thank you. We were gone for a little bit. One of the benefits of this being something on the side right now is that we can just kind of do whatever the hell we want. So sorry to the few of you that probably were expecting episodes after every week. We kind of promised that, but you know what? Things change and we're not sorry for it. So also, I'll take responsibility on that because I think Grant was ready and I just had some stuff going on. So, but we're here. We still watch the games. We get a little bit to cover, but we wanted to come back because we got a big game, a huge, as a former president of ours would say, a huge
Got a
game
fucking
on
barn burner up
Saturday.
in here.
Yes, we have ranked Clemson coming into Notre Dame Stadium for real. Well, 2020 was real. The game was real. The Irish won,
That was
but
real.
this one is that was real. Full stadium, no COVID restrictions this time. Full strength Clemson team that we know of. But before we get to there, we want to make sure we did an episode previewing that and getting everybody hyped for that game. But we got to go back a little bit. We've had some ups and some downs since we recorded last. So, if to you listeners, the last time we actually recorded was a few weeks ago, right before the Irish played Stanford.
And boy, were our predictions not correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say I am forever stopping predictions where I predict the Irish to win by a lot of points because I said it for Marshall and I said it for Stanford, and look what happened.
I think we probably
Grant,
also
I
both
don't
said it for Cal too.
no, because that was we were kind of in damage control mode for that
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but the Irish a few weeks ago played Stanford at home, who is objectively a bad team, and the Irish laid an absolute egg and lost 16-14. Now, I was at the game. I still don't know what the hell I watched uh, in the stadium that night earlier in October. It wasn't football. I was very confused. Um, and it's also more confusing when you consider what the Irish did the following 2 weeks. So, Grant, we had the Stanford loss, which was bad. Go and then play another home game against UNLV. Luckily, we had a get right game against
Oh,
UNLV.
that was such a great game to go to.
Yes. Grant, want to tell the story of you going to that game?
Yeah. So I surprised my dad, who he's the guy who introduced me to all the sports teams that I love. So I have a love hate relationship with him for that. Um, so I took him and I for an early Christmas present got him and um, myself and my roommate Ian tickets to the Notre Dame game, and we sat right in the jumbotron end zone, like right in between the goalposts, and we saw like five scores in the first half, and like both block punts were in our end zone.
I was going to say those block punts were in that end zone too. Yeah.
I was just so like I love going to Notre Dame games. Only thing that sucks butthole is those bleachers hurt my butthole. So not great.
And they're still way better than the wooden ones that used to be in the stadium.
Yeah.
Um,
But pretty cool.
yes, you're right. And shout out to Big T, Big Terry, you being able to go to his first game there, which is awesome.
That was
Saw the
awesome.
pics on the socials. It was very nice to see UNLV. I actually did not attend, but it was great to see. And you're right. Even though the Stanford game was terrible, It is really objectively fun and awesome to go to Notre Dame games.
Mhm.
And the Irish got it done for that game. It was a little bit wonky.
They tried to make it close.
Play calling was kind of weird. UNLV probably shouldn't have scored 21 points, but um, the Irish got it done, and you get a multiple or you get a double digit win, and that's going to make everything at least a little bit better. So the
Mhm.
Irish go in, play UNLV, thanks to Grant and his dad and Ian for helping them get the dub at home because obviously I'm some type of curse. Um, and then the Irish go on the road this past week and play Syracuse, a ranked team.
Number 16, another 16.
Another 16 team, number 16 team that the Irish beat, as BYU was number 16 at the time. And the Irish go in and get it done. People have been wondering now because the Irish have just been dominant away from Notre Dame Stadium. There was the UNLV game, but you have two ranked wins. UNC is now a ranked team as well. That we're their only loss.
And a really, this
Um,
is going to sound bad, but a really good loss to a really good Ohio State team.
right,
Number
right.
two ranked, right?
Right. So the Irish get that, and we'll talk a little bit about the Syracuse game, but initial thoughts to the college football playoff rankings came out, the first ones. I didn't really believe that this would happen. I have seen a lot in my days. I was wondering if there would be a conspiracy that the committee would rank us 25th to have a ranked matchup coming up this week. It did not happen. I don't blame them at all. You can't have losses to Marshall and Stanford and expect to be ranked. It was only my conspiracy theory there, but um, I had thought it wasn't out of the realm of possibility considering we beaten currently two ranked teams as Syracuse stayed ranked in the college football playoff rankings, UNC, and then a a closer loss to Ohio State, the number two team. So I didn't think it was out of the realm of possibility. Um, I wasn't optimistic, but I could have seen it. So I've seen weirder things. Also, at this point, you're starting to look at the committee, um, just doing stuff for
Shits and gigs.
yeah the first few weeks. I personally found it hilarious that they kind of snubbed Michigan out of the top four. Um, but they probably should be in the top four
I don't
and
think they should.
replace
Like, if, like
Clemson.
their fucking non-conference schedule is like weaker than a baby. Like, is
That
or
is
I don't
true.
like I don't know what I'm trying to say to really get my point across, but like it's like softer than Charmin. Like
Oh, it's
their
10 ply. It was 10
non-conference,
ply.
yeah, fucking spare parts, bud.
Um, yes. But anyway, back to how this really affects Notre Dame. The Irish are playing number four Clemson this coming weekend after playing number 16, now number 20, Syracuse. Now, the Irish are, like I said, have been dominant away from Notre Dame Stadium. They just went into Syracuse it's not the Carrier Dome anymore. It should still be the Carrier Dome.
Or your dome.
Whatever they played at actual Syracuse campus for the first time in 19 years, and just rolled over Syracuse. Seriously, I mean, are after
Get
Tommy
the
Reese
bolt
stopped.
out of the orange.
Yes, we did. We crushed the orange, um, as was um, as was seen by the screwdriver that I had after the game. Also, because the game ended at 3:30 p.m., which was glorious. Um, your boy needs some more noon kickoffs in his life, um,
And
because
it's
that was
perfectly for nap time.
yeah perfectly for nap time. And the Irish, after Tommy Rees stopped dicking around with the play calling and the passing and Drew Pine struggling, found out that Syracuse's D line was incredibly undersized and just started running the ball at their throats, and it worked. Um,
Also, fucking
I
sweet when the first play of the game's a pick six.
that was a great start. So we had pick six from Brandon Joseph, which was incredible. Um, so I was ecstatic about that. Also, I think I was downright giddy when Notre Dame's first offensive play was having Audric Estime at fullback. I
He's a
was
fucking dog.
I was in heaven when seeing a an I formation rollout and Audric got the ball as the fullback. I'm a big run the damn ball person. You got to do it. So, and then really the Irish never looked back. They never trailed. It became a 7-point game in the third quarter, but kept pedal to the metal. Got turnovers, which is we
Never
haven't
fucking
really
happened.
seen much of. It was just a dominant performance, and it's making this season be more confusing because you look at losses like Stanford and Marshall struggling against Cal, and then you see these dominant wins. It's Grant, you probably agree, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about what this team could be and a chance to have an upset coming up here this coming week.
If we're sitting here at 7-1, right? We're five
Yeah,
and three right now. If we're
we're
sitting here at five and or
seven.
at 7-1, we're
Yep,
probably ranked eighth, plus or minus,
with the only loss to number two
being
Ohio
to Ohio
State.
State. Yeah, and
Right,
an 11-point loss too. So not even everyone thought we were going to get blown out. We've talked about
right.
that in enough coverage, but like a really like again, this is bullshit because it's a moral victory. Like a good loss to a great Ohio State team. So in at 7-1, probably top 10, probably top 8, and we're facing Clemson at home at night where it's fucking going to be cold as shit because we're starting to get into November and freaky shit happens.
Yep.
Like this game day would have been here, or if not, big noon kickoff probably would have been here. Like this South Bend would have been fucking rocking had we both
Mm-hmm.
been 7-1 or 8-0 coming into November 5th.
Yeah.
And it's like it's disappointing. It's frustrating because like we know how good this team can play, and like they showed it against, or they had like the spurts of it against Ohio State. They played really well for the most part against a ranked BYU. They're beating the teams that they should be for the most part. But then again, you go and lay an egg against a Stanford team, which is going to be lucky to win any more games this year. You lose to a shit Marshall team again, which so
I
it's
still I mean I contend that the Stanford loss was almost worse. I actually I'm gonna say it. The Stanford loss to me was worse because Marshall came in and played hard, and that was their Super Bowl. We talked about it. They're a group of five team that a lower end group of five team that just punched above their weight and they did what they needed to do and had the upset. Stanford played an absolutely abysmal game and we couldn't muster 17 points. So to me, that was worse. Like
yeah, I think it's not because of our
that's
defense. Like I probably put this out there before, but I'm going to continue to say it. The reason why people get so pissy with our defense is because they're so good, but like they're making up for the offense. So like
right.
they've
They're
been
forced
playing
to
for the
make up for
most
the
part,
offense.
yeah. Like they've been playing for the most part, minus the turnover ratio, pretty much
Yeah,
fucking lights out this year.
right.
Like no one's really scored that much. I think North Carolina scored 31 maybe
Somewhere around
ish.
there. Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
no one's really put up a lot of points. Even the
No,
explosive offense of Ohio State didn't really do anything.
no,
And so
no.
it's like it's making it look worse because our offense is so fucking inept.
You're right. We're this year is like it's like a constant struggle. Like if we get the World Series going on. To me, it's always, and I have the same frustration. You watch your team play, and one of the most frustrating losses is like a 1-0, 2-0 loss because your pitcher's dominant.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing what they need to do. It's just the offense can't do anything.
Yeah.
Um, and they couldn't in those games. Obviously, our offense can do something. We're scoring a lot of points against some
Yeah.
pretty decent teams. Um, yeah.
So okay, so let's not talk about Clemson yet, but like kind of take a look into the future. And this is
Mm-hmm.
again way far into the future. If you're Drew Pine and you have Steve Angeli and Tyler Buckner on your ass, like you're probably not winning that job this year, right? Or like next year. Like, are you on board? Are you on board with that train of thought?
Yeah, I mean, when Drew started 3-0 as a starter this year, I was thinking, well, if this continues, there's going to be no quarterback controversy. But obviously, that's not the case because he has been
He's not good.
struggling. No, he's been struggling.
If we don't have our three-headed monster running back, we're I don't know that we're 500. We might be
Oh
3 and 5
no, I
if we
know.
don't have a running.
Totally. I totally
Like,
agree.
and it's so again, it's so fucking frustrating because like Tommy scripts out these plays. I know he does. He fucking has to. And the first play is always a little 3 yard out route to Michael Mayer to get Pines like energy and confidence
Yeah,
building. How many times have we watched him throw the ball right into the fucking ground
right.
when there's no one within 15 yards in the
Or
secondary of
or he's
Michael Mayer?
throwing it, or he's throwing it to the sideline, or yeah, I
We're
know.
giving
It's
you, and the defense is giving you these easy first downs too. It's like they know you can't beat them,
right.
and so it's fucking frustrating.
I know.
And it also scares me the fact that Angeli is now our backup quarterback because he's already been in one. Oh shit, has he been 2 games now already?
2 games.
He's only allowed to get into 2 more games before he would blow a fucking year of eligibility on him.
He's got 2 more games as a buffer, and then if he goes into that fifth game,
Then we lose him for a year, and it's fucked.
yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, despite obviously quarterback troubles and issues, we sit here at 5-3, and after the Marshall loss, you didn't really know that was going to be the case. We were maybe looking at like a 07,
7-5,
2016
yeah.
type of season where you're not even going to get to 500. So, um, I've been definitely encouraged,
Mm-hmm.
not 100%, but this is kind of I think we talked about this before. You just kind of take it for what it is, game at a time, and nothing has surprised me this season. I've was telling somebody, I forget who, maybe you, um, ever really since the Stanford loss, like I'm going into every game, I can see us losing or winning every game. And
Mm-hmm.
that's including the game against Clemson coming up.
Yeah.
Like I could see
It's
us
just
losing or I could see us winning, honestly.
it's just such a weird anomaly because like if you think about it from 17 to 21, we went to what is it, 3 playoffs, and maybe the other
Yeah.
2 years
So,
were
yeah.
New Year's Six games.
Yep.
So I think it's like you knew there was going to be a drop off somewhere. I guess you
Mm-hmm.
just didn't think it was going to happen this fucking hard and this fucking quick. Um,
Right.
but no, like you said, like any game I can see us winning, any game I can see us losing. It's don't get me wrong, like obviously winning is fucking awesome. Like Alabama fans and Georgia and Tennessee and Ohio State, like knowing you're going into each weekend having more than a the 75% shot of winning has to be awesome. Like actually being able to enjoy like the entire game, all the ebbs and flows of like or the range of emotions of like a normal game. It's entertaining at least.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. 100%.
Don't fucking like it, but it's entertaining.
No, no. Um, so hopefully, the run game, maybe Pine can kick it in the ass in some way. Um, this coming game with a big opponent coming in.
We're gonna
So
have to because that fucking front seven of Clemson is scary.
yes.
They have 2 guys who are going to be top 15 draft picks, and it'll be a stretch if they make it past fucking probably 12. And so something has got to give,
Yeah,
and I really just hope it's their defense plays like ass again
right.
because those 2 guys are dogs.
Right. So let's get into it a little bit. So we got Clemson coming in, they're number 4. Big win, obviously, or big time game. Last time they came in 2 years ago, the Irish got the win in the COVID year against they were number 1. So we got a full crowd coming in, but yeah, you're right. This game, it's really it's interesting for many reasons. But it's especially interesting because there's like a little bit of there's like a confusion around kind of how the seasons are going. I think it's a spectrum. Ours is a little bit more confusing. Clemson is undefeated, but they're not the dominant team that they have been. You said it though; they have a strong front seven on the defense. They've struggled a couple in the past couple weeks though. They had to come back against Syracuse,
North Carolina State, they
obviously.
tried to lose.
Yeah, right. It's so they've had a little bit of struggles. Hopefully, those will continue with the way that the Irish are running the ball
Mhm.
behind Estime and also Chris Tyree. Um, but yeah, you're right. I mean that, but this same thing goes. I think we obviously don't have the talent that we did 2 years ago, but the same was true against that D line a couple years ago. So who knows? You obviously can't exactly compare it. But that's something to obviously watch out is that the Irish run the ball effectively and the Clemson D line is crazy good. So, like you said, what's going to give? Something has to.
I think
Um,
this is very much of a foreshadowing insight, but we kind of see maybe Alabama's not as where they're good. And I know this is going to sound like I'm going on tangent, but it's going to come back.
I got
I
you.
wonder if this game is almost going to be like a tryout for Alabama for Dabo. Like he went to school
Oh,
there, played wide receiver there. I want to say he was on the coaching staff like really early in his career before he settled up in Death Valley back in like 2008. But I wonder if this is going to be like a foreshadowing of a job interview because I don't know. I mean, Saban's like 72, 73, and you have to think Miss Terry is getting tired of watching his blood pressure rise all the fucking time. So I wonder, like that's just something to keep an eye on.
yeah. I never really thought about that, but that's a good point. There's always is that thing, right? Saban's getting old. He's probably going to coach until he's 105, knowing him. But you're right. Dabo did go to Alabama. You wonder if he's kind of like an heir apparent
Mm-hmm.
type of coach. We'll see.
And then there's also
I
obviously the big quarterback um, comparison that we have to watch out for between DJ and Cade Klubnik, which it'll be interesting to see. I know nothing's been said otherwise with DJ being the starter, but it'll be interesting. He got pulled last week at halftime, and if Isaiah Foskey can continue to move the way he's been moving and doing his fucking thing, and um, JD getting some fucking good licks on some guys, and it it'll be interesting to see how long before they pull the
yeah.
plug on DJ.
It looks like so from what I've seen, it looks like DJ is still the starter.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, Cade has come in, he's been pulled, and that's another point too. Here is that it's kind of a little bit of an interesting parallel to what happened 2 years ago. Um, DJ had to come in because Trevor Lawrence has still had some COVID issues, or I don't remember, but he was still under the protocol, and DJ had to start. Now he had probably one of the best games I've ever seen from a backup.
Probably the best game he's ever played.
Yeah,
Also,
it's probably true. I thought he would be better than he was. Like I was contending that they weren't gonna skip a beat from losing Trevor Lawrence after that season, but obviously that's not the case. Um, I still think he is decent, but we'll obviously have to keep an eye on that. Maybe the defense can cause some havoc, and we, cause a little bit of like a miracle on ice type of thing where you got to get the goalie pulled,
mm-hmm.
the great goalie, you got to get the quarterback pulled, and then they're reeling a little bit. So we definitely watch out for that. But it's also DJ's second time playing against us at night.
And DJ's built like a
Um,
fucking linebacker too,
I
so
mean,
it's
he is huge. He's got like
unreal.
he's built like if he kind of reminds me not skill, but built kind of like a Cam Newton, like just
Yeah,
huge and it's still effective, you know, passing and moving the ball down the field as game manager. So
and you can't
um
fucking shoe tackle him. You have
no,
to wrap
no,
him up.
you gotta wrap him up. Absolutely. So everybody's got to lock in. Isaiah's got to lock in.
He's one and a
Bertrand,
half sacks away. Wouldn't it be a
he
fucking sweet
is.
thing to do to break
He
it on this
is.
game?
He is especially the DBs as well, um, on the corners. That it's not so much on the quarterback, but they got to lock in. JD Bertrand's got to lock in. He's got to not headhunt guys. Um, I love the dude, but the amount of times that he has gotten at least reviewed for targeting are beyond
The last
frustrating. Yeah,
4 weeks.
right. It's beyond frustrating. So, yeah, so they got to lock in. I think they can. And also with the defense too, there's also a little bit of a Notre Dame connection for this game. Um, Clemson has a running back, Will Shipley,
That
who
motherfucker.
is already making
God.
Grant's blood boil. He, for those who don't know, Will Shipley, he's a sophomore on Clemson's team. He's their star running back, a little bit over 700 yards this year, 10 touchdowns. He was about 99% coming to Notre Dame a couple years ago. And then COVID hit, couldn't visit, and we lost him to Clemson. Um, he was a 5-star, I believe, right? Grant, yeah, Grant's face is saying this all, but so there's a little bit of a connection there too. Is that, I mean, saying we heavily recruited him is an understatement. It will always be an understatement. Um, so you'll kind of see how he reacts. Is he going to try to ball out, or the guys even, or is our defense, are any recruiters left on our team? Are they going to care? It's something to think about for sure.
Well, I mean, the same thing with their defensive end, Brian Brisset.
Yeah,
I think he had Notre Dame in his final five. I know
yeah,
Will Shipley had Notre Dame in his final three.
yeah,
So I think it'd be just another really cool, like, fuck you. Like, you're probably doing well at Clemson, don't get me wrong. But I mean, if you're a good running back or a good defensive end at Notre Dame, you're fucking loved. Like,
right.
once you turn 21, you're not buying drinks in this fucking town again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Arike, like she's never buying a drink in fucking South Bend,
No,
Indiana ever again.
no, no. Everybody stand up for the queen.
God,
With
no
her
shit,
Buffett.
fucking bow down.
um, but that's what we have to. That's what we have to look forward to. That it's. I think what's the defense going to do to respond? You also have to think about, the offense is gonna. There's going to have to be pretty much A+ game plan here. Um, Clemson, we consider down. We're kind of joking. We're wondering kind of how they're ranked as high as they are, but you still can't sugarcoat it. I don't think they're number 4. They're still undefeated. They still got the power. They still got the talent. And your underdogs coming into, home underdogs again. So,
I think
that's
what's
just
nice about that though is like Notre Dame, no matter what happens, they're not gonna lose. Like I'm not saying from like a final score standpoint, but
yeah,
like no one expects them to win. And if they do win, they're fucking gold. Because I'll say it now. I've said it to probably you, and I know I said it to Ian. If Notre Dame wins this weekend, they will win out and they will go 9-3.
yeah,
And like we're gonna get a really good New Year's bowl or like a between Christmas and January 1 bowl, and we're gonna probably finish within the top 15. Like I'm throwing it out there in the universe right now.
I
If we
I
win
can't
this Saturday, we're winning out.
I can't disagree. And I know Stanford and Marshall losses, but you kind of wonder with the momentum, in what world do you see the a win against Clemson and lost against like Navy?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just you're no,
Mad
you're
props to
absolutely
them
right.
all the time, except for this game.
Yeah, except for this game. That's right. Um, yeah. So I don't really know. There's stuff you could break down a lot and try to figure it out, but this is just one of those where I think you're right. Like, let's see what happens. I think a loss like that could be if we get absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
Um, but I see your point for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It's like
so
just go in, play loose, play fucking football.
yeah,
You guys
yeah.
are 18,
Stop
18 to
thinking too
23-year-old
much.
kids. Like
Right, right.
you got recruited to play at Notre Dame for a reason.
Yeah,
Like
and
play
and
ball.
maybe and maybe add on to the 5 block punts that they already have.
Oh, that's so
Um,
fucking sexy when I saw two of those.
I know that's
God.
great. Oh man, that's just fun. I feel like that's one of those unexpected things in football. Like you want sound offense, sound defense, and you just kind of like punting. But
then Jordan Botelho says, "Fuck you,"
Yeah,
and
or
just rails your kicker.
or maybe one of the funniest things I've seen recently is why UNLV didn't block Isaiah Foskey the second time.
They're like,
Because
"Oh, he's fine. He's not going to do it
he
again."
got one block punt and then they just didn't block him on the next
Yeah.
punt.
They thought he had a coupon like limit one per customer. He said, "No, this is all you can eat, baby."
No, we got a smorgasbord going on with block punts, so that would be nice. So I think we don't really know. Also, one thing, and we can get into kind of predictions here too. Last thing too that makes this game really interesting is it's only a 3.5 point spread.
It's so fucking weird.
So and like a 44 and a half. Yeah, it was 44 and a half total, which seems low. Um, I don't know. This is one where apparently the game opened at I think Clemson was 6 point favorite. People dropped it, but it's sticking around that 3.5, 4 spot. And I feel like this is one of those games where it's so weird. You might have to like give it to Vegas.
Play it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so the Irish are 3.5 point underdogs. Honestly, I think that's lower than I thought it would have been. I thought it would be more, maybe closer to like a touchdown, maybe closer to 10 points, something like that. But that's how maybe, maybe, by the committee, by a lot of people, they're highly rated. But, you look to Vegas and what they did, they're not as valued. And they see the success that the Irish have had in the last few weeks. So, Grant, I mean, let's get down to it. What do you
Yeah.
think? Predictions. What are we looking at here? What do you think? Obviously, we're not going to predict a big Notre Dame win because that messes everything up.
I mean, like the season has already been defined, like
Mm-hmm.
as an anomaly. Last time Notre Dame had three losses was what 2016 when we had eight. Was that the last time we had three or more losses?
Uh, yeah, I think so.
Okay, so like this season is like the book has already been closed on this season. So like nothing really matters anymore at this point, as long as you're not like absolutely shitting the bed against like Navy and Boston College here in the next 2 weeks. Um so like fuck it, let's play spoiler, let's be Marshall, like let's this is until we go to the fucking Coliseum and play USC, this is our biggest game. So fuck it. Why not? Let's fuck around and win. Um, I'm gonna do it. I don't really care how bad this might turn out to be. Notre Dame wins 31-28. Um, Blake Groupie hits a 32-yarder with about 47 seconds left. Notre Dame holds out, and Marcus Freeman gets his first meaningful win as the head coach of Notre Dame.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna go. I think similar. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with a little bit of a nod to 2 years ago. Um, I think it's 27-20 in overtime, one overtime.
Okay.
And the Irish ground and pound to get a touchdown in overtime. Just
I
similar
formation all
vibes.
four times.
Yeah, I would love that, but yeah, not as high scoring as a couple years ago, but you little 20-20 action going into overtime and one overtime, 27-20. Touchdown wins it. So
Also, I'll throw this out if for any of you um, like prop betters, uh, Isaiah Foskey will break the record this weekend.
okay.
I'm
I
saying he
like
gets
that.
2 sacks.
2 sacks. Okay. I'd be all for that.
That'd be so fucking sexy.
Yes. Also, speaking of records, Michael Mayer got the most yards by any tight end in Notre Dame history. Considering he did that in under 3 seasons is absurd.
God, I'm gonna miss him so much next
I
year.
know he is definitely going to be missed. First round pick for sure.
Especially if Drew fucking Pine's a goddamn quarterback again.
Oh man.
Throw it up to the tall motherfucker. Hope he catches it.
Yeah, right. So, well, good. Well, that's Clemson. We got him coming back. I am never ever going to be a Dabo fan, so I hope we win just also for Notre Dame's sake, but also so Dabo could lose because it's fun to watch him spout non curses and talk about Southern crap. I don't
I
really
hope he
know,
runs
but
down those visiting stairs like he does and touches Howard's Rock.
you know what? One thing we know for certain: Dabo Swinney loves him some Dabo Swinney.
Oh my god, he's his biggest fan.
He is absolutely because it's apparently all about him. Oh man, that video of him running ahead of his team at home that is just one of the most ridiculous things I've
He's the
ever
worst.
seen.
He
Yes,
fits well down in Alabama.
he does. He fits well with the crazies. But anyway, that's it. We hope we're coming back, and I think let's try to continue on to do weekly shows. Hopefully, especially after we could be 6-3, which would be huge. So, that's ever loyal. That's the Clemson preview. Rocking it. Grant, any final thoughts?
This weekend has a lot of really good football on. So make sure you're setting up water breaks, food breaks, nap
Mm,
breaks. Very nice. I don't know about the 12 o'clock slate, but the 3 o'clock is Tennessee and Georgia. I
yep.
think it's in Athens, which is going to be a fucking fire game. Um, I don't remember the last time we saw a 1-3 matchup besides Notre Dame Clemson, which was 1-4 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then that matchup leads perfectly into Notre Dame Clemson at 7 o'clock. And then fucking probably Hawaii's playing somewhere at midnight. So fucking
Also,
great slate.
also Bama LSU the same time we play.
Oh, ass. Oh, fuck LSU. Fuck them.
I do not think that that game will be close.
I hope it's 917 to -4.
Kind
Fuck them.
of like Brian Kelly's academic scores or whatever the range of academic scores he had for his
Yeah,
players, whatever the
fucking
hell that was.
passing is probably
We're not.
25%.
I'm.
Sorry. Anyway, thanks for
I
listening.
can't. I can't. Thanks for listening. Thank you for also your PSA too. Look at that safety officer Grant here with bathroom breaks and making sure you're drinking water
Stay
and staying
hydrated, boys
hydrated.
and
Stay
girls. Pardon me.
hydrate or dihydrate is one of our mottos here at Everloyal in y'all media. So, Grant, thank you. Go Irish. Rate and subscribe. Apple Pods. We're on Spotify. Again, if
YouTube.
you like like us, rate us, tell us on social
Or talk shit
media.
with us on social media.
Yeah, that'd be great too.
We like
Tell
talking
us
shit
if
with people.
tell us if we're doing a bad job, and hopefully we shouldn't be. But tell us that. Tell us if we're doing a great job. And yeah, we love shooting the shit with people on Twitter because it's fun and it gives us something to do. So
Fucking free, baby.
absolutely. Well, except for maybe $8 a month if you want to get verified. But
Fuck
thanks,
off,
Elon.
Elon.
Thanks, Elon. But anyway, this is the Ever Loyal Podcast. Thank you for listening. We will see you guys soon and go Irish.